The Great Depression.
By Stephen Lee, Andy Lin, and Kevin Zhao. The Great Depression.
The Great Depression was the longest-lasting economic downturn in the history of the Western industrialized world. The Dust Bowl.
The Dust Bowl was a natural disaster that destroyed the farms and crops in the Middle West for 10 years. The effect of the Dust Bowl.
Drought stripped the crop supply of water. The dust storms covered the crops, rendering them unable to grow. The effect of the Dust Bowl.
The Dust Bowl caused many farmers to lose their jobs in farms. Other people, like pea pickers, also lost their jobs since there wasn't any crops growing. The crash of the stock market.
The crash of the stock market occurred on October 24, 1929. An estimated of 30 billion stock values were to disappear by November. Effects of the crash of the stock market.
After the crash of 1929, there was a gradual but slow improvement in the market. It discouraged Americans because the crash occurred right after World War I. What people needed during the Great Depression.
Money.
Yeah.
Unemployment.
During the Great Depression, many people lost their jobs and the unemployment rate rose. It was estimated that more than 25% of Americans were looking for work. That's around 10 million people. Effect of unemployment.
The low employment rate caused many people to beg for money on the streets. It also caused people to rob others for food and money. Looking for jobs.
During the Great Depression, millions of Americans were out of work. Many hoped to find a job or at least a way to support their family by hitting the road. Hoovervilles.
Those that were unfortunate enough to not get a job ended up in Hoovervilles because they blamed President Hoover for their troubles. They lived in a small, dirty room. President Herbert Hoover.
President Herbert Hoover was unpopular among Americans for being idle when Americans needed a strong leader. Bank crash.
During the 1900s, many banks all over America crashed. It was estimated that 4,000 banks failed during the 1 year of 1933 alone. Effects of the bank crash.
Customers lost their life savings when banks failed. Banks closed because they couldn't pay back their customers. Government tax increase.
Thinking that increasing the amount of taxes will help, the government put much heavier taxes on the poor and wealthy people. Effects of government placing taxes.
After placing heavier taxes on the poor and wealthy, conditions only got worse. People started purchasing less and shops began closing down, resulting in unemployment. Recovery.
It took over 23 years for the stock market to recover to the rate it was at before the stock market crash of 1929. Fun facts.
Monopoly was invented during the Great Depression as an activity to pass time for families. Suicides.
After the stock market crash, there was a wave of suicides in the New York financial district. It is said that the clerks of one hotel even started asking new guests if they needed a room for sleeping or jumping.
In conclusion, during the Great Depression, the United States suffered from many economic, social, and political issues.
Created using Powtoon.